What's up, guys? Woo! A long time since I posted anything, made a speech, or you know, came out here to remind you of some stuff again, because I feel like it's crucial. I just stumbled upon some work of Post Malone. Many of you know him, and this is not about him specifically, but following some of his work, or basically checking some of his work and kind of getting into the emotions, the feelings that he so passionately displays on stage and in his performances, showed me something that we don't talk enough about in general in our society, because Hollywood targets, or basically the entire entertainment industry targets us, the people, with emotional triggers, just like the food industry, the cosmetic industry, all sorts of, what I mean, like stuff to trap you so that you think you need things, and to keep you in a certain state of mind, certain state of being, even more so than mind. And the reason for keeping you there is so they can basically suppress your rising, soaring above these, I would say, primitive or very primal fears, emotions. So the way this works is, you see, you have a celebrity that went through pain. All artists, I'm an artist too, we are very sensitive. We're very perceptive of, life, very perceptive, at least true artists. Not everybody's a true artist out there just because they're a celebrity, but there's some of them that are extremely passionate about what they do. They're very, they really indulge into the feeling of their message, of their lyrics, their work, whatever it may be, performance art, and they have their whole being is in it, right? So that's why those people are especially, I would say, worshipped, really worshipped, and that's why the industry uses them as like a plant to confuse us and to keep us down. So be careful when you indulge into these things. You have to be extremely mature emotionally. You can be scarred. We all are in some ways, but you have to deal with that trauma and then get past it, right? Get through it, because otherwise it keeps you in that constant, perpetual state of misery. Now, misery loves company. Careful. So when you go to these places where people are obsessed with these type of people, these type of artists, you are basically enveloped in the feeling. The feeling is, caused by emotion. Emotion is energy in motion, which has a very specific role in your life and in your existence, regarding your consciousness, your perception of who you are, perception of reality of other people, basically just the mirrors of yourself, because everything is just a mirror of yourself, really. I mean, there's nobody else in the whole entire eternity than only one, you. That's it. Everything else you see is just a projection of yourself in many fractured pieces, which is the fractured consciousness of you perceiving yourself in many different ways, through many different lenses, aka perceptions, perspectives, however you want to call them, views. Okay, so to get back to how they trap us through these charming, charismatic, very charismatic. Pain makes you, if you go through a lot of pain in life, that adds to your character. Just remember that. It adds to your character because you are able to sink deep down into your darkest, deepest, basement of yourself, right? Which is not attainable and accessible to people who live a more hollow or shallow life, and avoid pain and try, you know, pick, I would say, the easier lines in life, the more traveled, you know, the more popular, because those don't bring really much pain. Those don't, you know, when you're not taking risks, when you're not opening yourself up to the world and everything that the world and your consciousness will offer to yourself, you know, you're basically shielded from that pain. But when you open up, when you're sensitive enough to open up, to want to experience these things, it will bring you a lot of sorrow, a lot of pain that you experience in life because of different situations you're gonna land that way, land in, right? So these people then are hired because they're recognized as like potential good, you know, potential very, very high quality bait that everybody's gonna bite into, or at least the majority. They put them on stage, they make them into these stars. Remember, they make them into stars. There's a lot of talented people out there, but not all of them have the whole package to be able to be coached. Some people just don't listen. Some people are very stubborn. Those cannot work in the industry. In the industry, you have to definitely sell your soul, which means you have to become somebody else's puppet, okay? And all your emotions, all your feelings, all your trauma gets exploited by those parties, by those teams that work for a completely different, you know, reality, different purpose. That's why they keep those people in you know, in those positions of influencers, right? Influenza, you see? They're causing this state of virus, you know, feelings, this sorrow, misery, that state of being, that's like a virus. Once it gets into you, crawls into you, it's very hard for you to get rid of it. It's very hard for you to step out of it and see anything else than that. So then you wallow in that pain, wallow in that sorrow, which keeps you energetically extremely, extremely low, at a very ground level. And that's the only level where the entities that strive to possess you, to keep you, you know, you basically have dark, these are not some entities that are like foreign entities, because there's no such thing. Remember, I already said, it's only you. There's nobody else here. So you trap yourself into your own dark corners, into your own basement, and you trip over your own obstacles, right? So these demons, these entities that possess you in this reality, those are your unexplored or unexplored, I don't know what. Okay, anyway, so those are those areas of yourself you have never explored, and you don't know what's in them, and they're extremely powerful only because you're not aware of them, because you do not understand them. The same way as a magician's trick does not work on somebody who knows how it's being done. So you see what I'm saying? So because they trap, you know, I will talk in as they trap you through these people, so you can wallow in that misery and that pain and sorrow, and you can relate to it, right? The biggest thing is relate, right? You see, you can relate to the pain. The only time when you can relate to that pain, it's when you recognize yourself as a victim. That's a trap right there. Careful. In every situation in life, you have an input, so you can never truthfully and sincerely claim that you are actually a victim of a situation, because you never are. You always have a part in it, a major part, and only because you're not aware of it, does not mean that you haven't caused it for yourself. So here you have to be extremely careful, because what happens then is that prevents you from rising above and actually experiencing real beauty and divinity within yourself. You see, that's a trap, because then you start looking at the world as like, love sucks. Oh, if you open up, you're gonna get your heart broken, it's gonna be fucked up, you're gonna suffer, you know, you're gonna be miserable. Then what happens next? Then they have other solutions, right? Because now they got you out of, you know, trying out of being open, you know, being vulnerable. They exploited your vulnerable position. They put you in that, they basically, not put you, but they sort of emphasized your vulnerability through that trauma that you once experienced, and now they're exploiting that within you because it's in you. So now you have no choice but to relate to it because you experienced it. So it's not foreign to you. You know it as if it was your home, okay? You're very at home, when you're in that state, which is dangerous because when they get you there, they also want to keep you there. Now, when you say love sucks, I'm not going to open up, fuck this, I'm guarding my feelings, boom, you put up the walls. The next thing you know is you cherish what they want you to think it has value. Now they want you to submit yourself to the material aspect, materialism, so that you can then waste your life away, work all day long, fight and do anything you possibly can, sell your soul completely for the means of attaining this financial abundance. This, now you're rich, now you can buy a fancy car, now you can buy a fancy house. Now you don't have to have a house with only 1 or 2 rooms. Now you need a house that has 20 rooms because, most people in this world, they have a house with at least 2 rooms. So you're a nobody. You're still a nobody until you have a house that has 10 or 20 rooms, because then you can show off and say, hey, look, I have a mansion right here. Okay? This is where the trap works, because then people start gathering and cluttering their life with things that do not matter, the things that are finite, the things that never pay off. Sure, it's nice to have money, sure, it's nice to have comfort, but only when you're mature enough to understand to have as much as you need, not that much to impress the world around you. You don't ever need to impress anybody, that's the whole point. But here you see, they get you to this point because now you gave up on the most precious, priceless thing you could ever have and experience, which is love. You're not going to be loved, and you're not going to love yourself. You're not going to know how to love yourself if you're going to be scared of it. Impossible. And that's the trick, you see. That's how they keep you down very low. That's how they can exploit you. That's how they can, threaten your existence and impose all sorts of boundaries and limits to your existence, because they always threaten your physical, material abundance. So those of you who fall for that because you submit yourself into those low realms of being, you are a very easy prey. Okay? You're very, very easy. You get into the trap and they will keep you there, and then you will fight to the tooth and nail to keep everything you have and keep gathering more, because for you it's never enough. Never. So then you see these stars, right? Stars that they put up there because they have that charisma, because they are exploitable. Up there on the stage, they make them into these gods that you worship, all right? And you're screwed. You're totally screwed. Then you go and pay for their performances, and what do they give you? They never give you any solutions. They always talk about pain. They always, give you the feeling of pain, give you the feeling of sorrow, so you can relate. Because it's a trap, you see. Of course you can relate. That's the easiest, the most basic thing that you can relate. It's like sexual instincts, pain, anger, frustration. Who doesn't have that in this world? They constructed the world this way to be one big trap, right? The system itself. I'm not talking about natural order. I'm talking about the order of man. They constructed this reality so that that's all you get. So of course, that's all you get. Then they give you, you have a deep wound. Instead of treating the wound, they give you a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid is material luxury. So now you're going to do anything possible to stuff as much stuff onto the wound so you don't have to deal with it. That's all they give you. So that wound never closes. It always needs more and more and more and more and more. That's how you become vultures to yourself and to each other. And you no longer care who you're going to hurt, because guess what? Love sucks. If somebody gets hurt by, believing that you actually care about them when you actually don't, because you learned not to care about others, hey, it's their fault, right? Why are they so stupid anyways? Who cares? Like, they shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't open themselves up, because that's what you get when you open up. So, and that's why we have this competitive society that simply does not care for anybody unless they have money, big status. They have, luxuries they can show off with. In actuality, look around. All these people that have these things, you have met a lot of them even in person. And because I am who I am, they somehow confide with me and tell me that they're miserable, that they have all this stuff, but it doesn't really mean anything. And because once they attain all this stuff, it's kind of really, really hard to let go. Because imagine once you have thousands and thousands of, dollars or whatever currency, or millions, you attain a certain status, and in order to continue maintaining that status, it's an extreme, cruel amount of work. It's not like a lot of you people think that, oh, well, I'm just going to get rich and then I'm going to sit back and just enjoy for the rest of my life. It does not work like that, because a lot of you forget that when you're struggling, when you're broke, or even when you have some decent amount of money, that's the lifestyle that is very, very, very cheap comparable. I mean, in comparison to somebody who has thousands and thousands of, or millions even. Can you imagine how expensive their lifestyle is per month? Do you know what kind of costs they have every month from everything they possess? And guess what? And all sorts of people that they have to hire in order to guard them and their assets and their money, their future. There's so many people after them all the time. They have to protect themselves from them. So, yeah, their lifestyle is no longer the same money as you have who make a couple thousand a month. It's not the same. It's very different. And in order to maintain that lifestyle, your money that you make is far from enough. Far. It's a spit in the ocean compared to how much money they have to make just to maintain that lifestyle monthly, on a monthly basis. You see, so you forget about how expensive that life becomes and how much harder it is, because there's so many other people fighting to attain that and take your spot away. So you always have to be on the prowl. Always have to, make sure you secure your spot, even though you already got it. They say it's harder to stay on top than make it to the top. That's not said for no reason. That's not some nonsense philosophy. It's actually very true. So keep these things in mind, and when you are wallowing in the sadness and sorrow, when you're relating to these amazing artists, just remember that you can keep your sadness and your sorrow, but eventually you have to let it go and get over it and start basically resolving that. If you don't resolve it, it's always going to be there, because even when you do resolve it, the remaining parts in there, those scars are forever. You can't ever get over a variety of things that happen in life. That's just your character. You now have scars. Okay, I crashed with a bike a while back. I don't know how much you can see it. Sometimes it's more visible, sometimes not. This scar is going to be here for a very, very long time. Some of it will stay there probably forever. As long as I live. And it's okay. That's just, the way it is. We never stay perfect until the very end. We're going to get scarred one way or the other. And so resolve these things. Don't wallow in it, because that's what they want you to do. That's why they put these people up there. That's why they attract you with marketing. That's why they train them and coach them how to talk to be more relatable. They exploit their vulnerability. They exploit their sensitivity to life and to everything that happened to them and what's happening in the world. So, because if you couldn't relate to them, tough shit, right? You wouldn't care about it. Going to some concert, traveling, spending your savings so you could actually get there, pay for the ticket, and then enjoy yourself with the rest of the people that are also then wallowing in the same misery throughout the whole concert and days after, posting all these photos, posting all these videos, and perpetually making it worse for yourself and themselves. It's terrible. It's really terrible once you start understanding. So yeah, you can listen to these things. You can even get down into being in the feeling of it. But only once you understand it, because then that magic does not trap you. Then you know what you're watching, you know what you're hearing, and you know how it works. So it doesn't have that same effect on you anymore. So you're basically pretty much safe from it. Bye bye. See you next time. Who knows when that's gonna be.